All right, so here we're going to have two different sections of content. The first is just going to be a little bit more type down here with an icon. And then down here, we're just going to have three cards. And that's going to be for containers for testimonials, essentially. And then at the bottom, we'll have a footer. So to get started, the very first thing that we want to do is add an icon. Now, instead of doing an icon by scratch, which you can definitely do using these tools up here in Adobe XD, we're going to go ahead and use Font Awesome. Now, the reason being is because Balma here, if we go back to overview, we'll see that it says Font Awesome icons. If you want to use icons with Balma, then don't forget to include Font Awesome. So we'll be including that once we get to that section later on. So if we go to Google and we type in Font Awesome icons, we click on that, and here is a search section, and we have tons of icons that we can use in a project. So I'm just going to use a cog. So type in cog, there we go. And right here is what we want to reference, is this FA-cog. Right now, I don't believe there's a way to download these, say, for instance, as PNG files. So we'll go ahead and get a PNG file out of this. And to do that, if you head on over to fa2png.io, which basically means Font Awesome to PNG, you can type in the name, and that was the FA-cog. All right, the color. In our case, we want the color to be our primary color. So I'm going to hop back into XD, and we're going to grab real quickly this color right here. Take that color code, Control C to copy it, and we'll go back, paste that in. And for the size, I think 100 pixels will definitely be fine. So click generate and then click download. You can go ahead and show in folder. I'm going to, mine showed up off screen, by the way. When it shows up, simply just drag it on anywhere. There, that's perfect. Right around there. Okay, so now this is a good time to get out the grid. So let's go back to our layers. We'll show it. And we want it to fit within this first column. So when we structure the HTML, it's basically going to be the size of the first column that we have specified. Now remember, we also want a good amount of space. So I'm going to drag this down because it doesn't look like there's quite enough right here as compared to the top. So I'm going to drag this down. So we have an even amount of space from here to here, and then from here to here, and then from here to here as well. Okay, so now let's go ahead and get our type tool. I'm going to zoom up just a bit. And I'm going to left click starting from right around here. And I think we'll go out to around right there. So we're starting at the second column and ending at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, so 7. This is 6 columns long, technically. We're starting at the second. And I'm just going to type in a quick sentence. We provide superior logistics so that your business can succeed in a crazy world. Something really, kind of silly, really. All right, so we'll increase this. And we want this to be pretty thick. So we also will drop this down. We're going to make it black. We're going to make it bold. And we'll put it right there. We want it to begin just at the top of this cog. We want them to be even. All right. And then we're also going to put in some Lorem Ipsum text. And you know what? I think I'm going to drag this in one column. Right around there. So now we're going to do a second one. And in fact, we can just take this, Control C, Control V, or you can hit Control D. That'll do everything at once to duplicate it. I'm being a little bit inefficient. And I'm just going to grab more Lorem Ipsum text. So take this, paste that in. And for this size, let's see what the size of the text is up here. It's 33. Let's try 33 here as well. We're going to make it light. All right. We can also extend the line height so it matches the width of this over here. So let's go ahead and hide this real quick, the grid, just to see what things are looking like so far. All right. Pretty good. Let me scale it down just a tiny bit. All right, so now we'll take this back in. All right, I like that. All right, looking good so far. So now in the next section, let's do some cards based on 3 different columns, which they always need to add up to 12 if you want everything to fill out. So they will be 4 columns long each. So before we get to that part, we're going to go ahead and click on the name of our artboard, and we're going to increase the size or the height. So I'm going to put in 2100 just for now. Notice this little dashed line, that's based on the viewport height. So anything beneath this will scroll. There will be a scroll when we go to play the prototype. All right, so let's go ahead back and turn on the grid. And that is right here. This grid, let's go ahead and click on it and drag this down. Great. Okay, so now let's refer back real quick to our, we can close this out, to our Balma documentation. And we have, I believe it's referred to as, a component. It's the first one, card. And this will give you an idea of what the cards look like. So essentially the cards in and of themselves, all they are is a very light border, basically 1 pixels it looks like. And there's also a very tiny little drop shadow that comes off to the right and bottom. And this gives you a bunch of stuff. So we're probably going to focus on creating something more like this example as opposed to the top 2 up here. So you can see they're very flexible. We're not going to have share buttons. It's really just going to be a really simple box with a quote inside of it. Okay, so let's go back and do that. So the first one, we'll take the rectangle tool, and right now where it's at, not too important. We'll adjust it later. It needs to be 4 columns long though. All right, so now let's go ahead and just temporarily, well, we can leave it there. I was going to hide it, but no big deal. We'll take the type tool and come right around here. And for now, I'm just going to hit ASDF. I'm going to go off screen and just copy a quote that I had. You can go ahead and paste this in if you wish. And I'm going to increase the size. Let's go ahead and make it black. We'll make this light as well. All right, so if I zoom in, you can see the type that I use. Again, you can put whatever you want. And that looks pretty good. And then also we will have an author name. So I'll just put like Gary Simon. Probably make this a little bit bigger. And I do like the default color that it gives us. It's just kind of like a medium gray right there. And we'll bring this in. Notice I'm looking to make sure we have, an equal amount of white space on the top, bottom, left, and right. And there we go. So now we're going to repeat grid this because we have 3 of them. So it's kind of silly just to sit there and copy and paste each one. So we take this text right here, hold Shift, select that, and then also the back. So we have 3 items selected. You can hit Control G. That's optional, by the way. You really don't have to group them if you don't want to. Or you can just hit repeat grid. So we'll go ahead and repeat this. And just to right there. And then we can increase the size just by, between them, just by dragging that there in the middle. All right. So now again, we want to make sure there's even or equal margin between these elements. Let's go ahead and hide the grid real quick. All right, and that is what we have so far. Actually, I think things could be probably spaced out. No, I think they're good for now. Yeah, right there is good. Okay, so I'm liking this so far. In the next section, what we'll do is add a real quick footer down here, and it'll just be basically 2 columns with some text on the left and then some icons, social icons on the right.